Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is again working with Watson here. So we are going to go through our fossil diagram here. So the first thing is I did put up the slides here. I already opened it up. I know that this is really hard to read, so a couple of options are that you can zoom in. So go to zoom, zoom in, and then when you want to go back out, you just go back to fit, and it fits there. I also wanted to attach these if you would rather go to the PDF. If you have the capability of printing, you want to print it out instead. I wanted to put that on there. I know it's small. It is packed with information though. So instead of giving you a paper to rewrite and it has sentences that help it to flow and everything go together well, each chart is just giving you the important information and just boom, 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 boom with facts. So make sure to check this out. If you started the video, if you have not read this yet, that's your first job. Pause the video right now, go out and read this, and I would read it carefully, and I would probably read it at least twice. The first time, just kind of read through everything, and then kind of go back and notice the important parts. What really stands out as the most important stuff. If it's something you kind of already know or is easy to find, that's something you don't necessarily need to point out. You want to point out the things that, hey, I might need to know that, but I'm not really sure I'm going to remember that. Those are the things you want to kind of highlight and really think about. So if you haven't read that yet, stop the video now and go in and read that first. Go read. All right, now that you're back, hopefully you're back if you haven't read that, or that you have read that now. When we go in here, again, we're going to go to, I'm going to zoom in so I can see a little bit better because I know I can't read that without zooming that in. And again, I'm going to look for the important parts. I'm going to stop zooming. So one of the things we kind of could highlight is that it's rare to find a complete skeleton. That's one thing I think a lot of people think of is we just found all the dinosaur bones completely intact and that, but they are not. Ingredients for making a fossil. See, this is one I would never remember all of these things, so I would want to highlight. And so I would highlight air, water, sediment, time, sap, tar, ice, pressure, and death. So that when I needed to, if that was going to be a question that hey, I might need to answer that, that's where I would go to find that answer. That's why I'd highlight it. Fossils of animals. I would not necessarily highlight those. If it says fossils of animals, I can pretty much think of most fossils or most animals, birds, dinosaurs, that would be fossils. Same thing with the plants, plant fossils, trees, brush, shrubs, leaves. Those are things that I kind of already know about them, so I wouldn't necessarily need to highlight those. So the next part, when you read through, again, it's the order that things are happening when a fossil breaks down. I would be looking for things that here I'd be highlighting they are covered by sediment, or here maybe that they died. Then they're covered by sediment. Again, I already know they decompose. Here I would maybe highlight that the minerals from the sediment replace the minerals in the hard parts of the once living organism. I would highlight minerals from the sediment replace the minerals in the hard parts, or actually minerals in, and I would just highlight organisms. I would skip the hard parts of the once living organism. I would skip that. And then the next part over here, the minerals crystallize and the sediment around the once living organism begins to become rock. Okay. So I would in that one, I maybe put begin to become rock is what I would highlight there. And then we kind of have an idea of where, how fossils are uncovered. Just to give you another quick rundown here of the last couple things, I would highlight in each one the important information here. So trace, I would put highlight does not contain parts of the original organism. So it's not, again, the bones, the shells, it is the bite marks, it's the scratch marks, the footprints. When it says cast, I would say fill a space. When it's the mold, it's leaving the empty space. So again, with a cast kind of pushes out and is going to come up. off of a rock, where a mold is going to dip in and have that impression of the animal. Petrified, I would be looking at, and if I were highlighting, I would say minerals penetrate and replace the hard parts. The amber, I would just highlight the words tree sap. If it was ice, I would put remain frozen. That one's kind of obvious with ice, so, but that they just remain frozen there. Okay, on the other part over here, last part, ones the first one I don't think is that there. I would maybe put calcium in quartz or calcite in quartz. I would highlight those. Those are the types of minerals, and maybe the word minerals too if I were highlighting. Just to point those out. I would also locate that most organisms lived in the sea. Again, ocean water, salt water is going to contain a lot of sediment and the minerals that are going to harden. I know, so I wouldn't need to highlight the paleontologist. I know that. If you're uncertain about that, you might want to put just highlight the word paleontologists. And again, I know on the slides you aren't highlighting. I'm just kind of pointing these out. So that way, as you get used to trying to find information, you're highlighting those important parts. I've watched this week as kids have been going through stuff that they're highlighting entire paragraphs, and then it's hard to find what was important, what was the main focus of the stuff we needed. Okay, a highlight should make sure that it points it out so it's easy to find if you need it. Okay, so that's the whole reason I wanted to talk about highlighting, is looking for that important information. So looking at here, oh, now I'm too far away. Okay. So on here, as you fill out answers, you can go ahead and look for, we're going to insert some text box and we'll go there. So I'm just going to click on that little T text box. I'm going to insert one here. And how does a cast fossil form? Okay, so how does a cast fossil form is what I want to know. Think about that. If I want, I should go back here and I might look up cast fossil. Cast fossil, a cast occurs when minerals and rocks fill a space by a decayed organism. So going back to here, oh, it moved on me. But I find my text box again and I would put minerals fill a space. Okay. And I can put that in there. Click down, scroll down. So, number 2, what is a person called that studies fossils? And again, this is one I said I wouldn't highlight because I know that one. If you're uncertain, you can go back to here again. And, I mean, right here is a good clue. I'd also mentioned it down here. So make sure we're finding that information if needed. So find my text box again. You could always insert the text box after you look up the answer. That's probably the better way to do it. But it is a paleontologist. I'll make sure to spell it right when you type it in, because I know that's a tricky one to spell. Make sure you're looking through. If it gets the red squiggly line, make sure to fix that. Where do most fossils form? So where do most of them form? We know all of them are going to be formed underground. They're going to need the pressure to form. We learned that with the mold fossils and messing with the Play-Doh and clay yesterday. But where do most of them form? Most of them form in the water. And again, there's a large amount of sediment. There's a lot of movement of mud and stuff with the currents and the waves. So we might put where do most fossils form. We can put in the sea. This page mentions the sea. Others have said ocean. Both are fine. Both are correct. As long as there's water. Insert another text box. What minerals help to preserve fossils? That's what remember we highlighted. We talked about highlighting those two. There were 2 parts of a fossil, or 2 types of minerals that really preserve fossils. Okay. Again, if you go back, find them. They were over here. Okay, checking out this paragraph. What were those 2? And if you're sitting here thinking, come on, Mr. Watson, I already know that, sorry, you know. But, so those 2 are, boom, hopefully you saw it. It is calcite and quartz. And what is the last step of a formation of a fossil? Going back, thinking of that on here, if we look, this was the steps over here. What was the last one? It's not really the formation of fossil, but it's the last step of the fossil process, is that a paleontologist finds it. We'll keep it short. We could say that the paleontologist carefully uncovers the fossil from the rock, but we'll just keep it short and sweet. Paleontologist finds it. So, looking through, that's how we can insert our text boxes. Okay. When we get to this part, okay, you can just go to shape. You can go to a shape here, and you could do the square, and you could kind of highlight your answer. If you say a tools paleontologists use is art, and you want to put that, I would change the color because I personally just, gray is boring. And actually you can make it transparent, and then it would still box it in. You could also use the circle for the shapes, do a circle, and you could highlight. Maybe they say, hey, they definitely use music to uncover fossils. Again, if you come up to the top, fill color, transparent, it gives you the ring around the outside. If you wanted to, you can make the color, change the color of it to a different color. But thinking about what do they use, they're not going to use art. They're not going to be painting pictures there to get or drawing or anything to get a fossil out of rock. Music, you could talk about the vibration of music somehow cleaning the rock off, maybe, but not really. Fire, I don't think. I mean, the rock wouldn't burn, so that probably wouldn't work. So we're going to need water to help rinse it off, those materials. So the next part, what you could do to help out is if you go to that one, click on it, and you can right click. If you have a Chromebook, it's click with 2 fingers at the same time, and you could copy it. Or the other option, this is what I use all the time, is you hold Control down and hit C, and that copies, and then you come back over here and you hit Control and you hit V. If you don't hit Control V again, it's right click and you would paste there. And so looking at number 7, which of the following is not an ingredient in fossil formation? What do we not need to form a fossil? Do we need air? Again, this goes back here. And we had, where was our list of ingredients? List of ingredients. Oops, I just lost it. List of ingredients. Fossil, to make a fossil. We have air, water, sediment, time, sap, tar, ice, pressure, and death. So going back, air, yes. Water, yes. Time, they mentioned, no mention of metal. Metal's out of here. Again, I can just hit paste. So if I come here, I can hit Control V. That's paste. Or I can double click or use 2 fingers to click. That gives me the pop-up menu, and then I could hit paste. Settle down there, computer. Which continent has fossils been found on? Asia, Antarctica, Africa, or all of the above? That was the very, very last thing on the page. You should see, if you looked it up, was, boom, all of the above. Again, we're going to paste. I'm going to paste 2 of them because we have 2 more of these questions, and I'm just going to drag them down here so they're ready to go. Which of the following can enclose an entire organism through tree sap? Well, tree sap we talked about. We highlighted it with not cast, not mold. Amber, yes. And the other, just double checking, would not be petrification. Okay. And the last one, which one could be a fossil, would be a shell. Flesh could also be, but they not according to this. All right, so I'm running out of time here, so I just wanted to kind of finish up. If you will need to insert text boxes on the last few things to put in there, fill in each circle there, a large text box here. Let me know if you have questions.